Do you find it difficult to say no to people? Do you often feel obliged to accept invitations to do things you don't want to do? Do certain types of people make you feel emotionally drained? This can be especially challenging if those people are loved ones, family and friends, even coworkers. If any of this applies to you, you may need to learn how to set healthy boundaries. In this video, we will discuss what are boundaries, why should one set them, and why are they important? So without further ado, let's get straight into this. What are boundaries? First and foremost, for those who are new to the concept, a boundary is an imaginary line that divides one person from another. It separates you from others' physical space, feelings, needs, and responsibilities. Your boundaries also tell others how they can treat you, what is and isn't acceptable. People may take advantage of you if you don't set boundaries about how you expect to be treated. When a boundary is crossed, you should provide feedback that it is unacceptable. The boundary is meaningless unless it is enforced through feedback and consequences. Some people accept boundaries easily, while others continue to challenge and escalate them. Why does one need boundaries? Setting limits is a type of self-care. Establishing clear guidelines, rules, limits for how you wish to be treated is beneficial. They are a clear sign to others of what is and is not acceptable. They respect and protect our needs and desires to feel respected and safe. Boundaries help you avoid burnout, stress, and anxiety. It can also aid in the prevention of financial and emotional burdens. To sustain and possibly thrive in this society, you need a set of boundaries for yourself so that whenever a situation comes, you don't have to tell the other person what you like and what you don't. If you're clear about something, you can build a wall around yourself so thick that people can never bring it down. Boundaries are important for both individuals in a relationship and the relationship's overall health. We may feel resentful, taken advantage of, and eventually shut down and withdraw if we do not have clear boundaries. It can impact our self-esteem, self-worth, and overall personal and interpersonal comfort. Clear boundaries allow us to stay connected, and communicating those boundaries demonstrates our respect for the relationship by demonstrating that we are willing to put in the effort to keep the relationship strong and safe. What are the types of boundaries? Now, there are certain types or levels of boundaries that you should know to tackle the situations that fall under these boundaries. 1. Emotional boundaries. Emotional boundaries are the limits you set on what you're willing to share emotionally with others. This includes determining when to share and take time for yourself, your capacity for listening and supporting others, what you're comfortable sharing with others, and so on. Questions to consider when exploring your emotional boundaries include: who will I go to if I need to talk about something personal? Who am I hesitant to share personal information with? How will I make time to process my own emotions so that when I share, I'm not dumping my problems on others? How will my chosen confidants assess each other's capacity for listening and sharing? What things am I hesitant to share with friends, family, and others? 2. Material boundaries. Money and possessions refer to material boundaries. Setting limits on what you share and with whom is part of maintaining healthy material boundaries. For example, lending a car to a family member may be appropriate, but not to someone you met this morning. When someone steals or damages another person's possessions, or when they put pressure on them to give or lend their possessions, material boundaries are crossed. You can use the following questions to investigate your material boundaries. What am I willing to share? How will I share what I have? Who will I share it with? What am I not going to share? 3. Time boundaries. Time boundaries are how people manage their time. A person must set aside enough time for each aspect of their life, such as work, relationships, and hobbies, to have healthy time boundaries. Time boundaries are violated when another person demands too much of someone's time. You can explore these time limits by asking yourself the following questions. How much time do I want to set aside each day or week for myself? When it comes to allocating my free time, what comes first? What do you charge per hour if someone asks you to collaborate or work together professionally? How will you decide which different projects to work on? 4. Intellectual boundaries. Intellectual boundaries are the boundaries we impose on our thoughts and ideas. Things like how we react when someone does not respect our ideas, how we communicate with others, and when we discuss something versus when we know it is not a good time. Questions to consider when exploring these boundaries include: what does it mean to me to respect ideas and other people's points of view? To put it another way, what behavior from others will make me feel as if my ideas are being dismissed or diminished? What will I do to protect myself if this happens? How will I demonstrate to others that I value their ideas and perspectives? What will indicate to me that it is time to leave a discussion? How will you communicate when it's time to step away from a conversation? How will you convey the fact that your ideas are not being respected? 5. Physical boundaries. Physical boundaries are the ones you set for your body, touch, space, what you eat and drink, and when you're active and resting. You can ask yourself the following questions to explore your physical boundaries. How comfortable am I with others touching me? Hugs, handshakes, high fives, and so on. Who do I want to be touched by? Friends, partners, family members, coworkers, etc. Is it okay for people to enter my bedroom, or is that just for me? Is there anyone I can consult about the food I cook and eat? Is there anything I can't eat or drink? How will I prioritize the rest I require? 6. Sexual boundaries. In recent years, sex educators all over the internet have been working hard to address the importance of sexual boundaries. These include things like consent, establishing communication patterns, establishing safety rules, and so on. Questions that can help you explore and communicate your sexual boundaries include: how do I express verbal consent? And how do I convey it non-verbally? What about my sexual partner? What types of sexual intimacy do I prefer? What about my companion? How do I prefer to communicate during sexual intimacy? Is it mostly body language, primarily verbal, a hybrid of the two? What are my sexual safety boundaries? Is it necessary for me to use multiple forms of contraception to be comfortable? Do I prefer getting tested for STIs with my partner? How will I deal with STI health and safety? How to set your boundaries. Setting boundaries is all about communication. Communicating your needs and desires is the most important step toward defining your limitations and living a more independent existence. Here are some ways to set your boundaries. 1. Visualize and name your limits. Making your boundaries concrete is the first and most important step in defining them. Boundaries are frequently perplexing and abstract because they appear to be invisible in our daily lives. However, by visualizing and writing down your boundaries, you can gain much more clarity on where you want to draw the line between yourself and others. On a blank piece of paper, draw a large circle. Write everything that makes you feel safe and stress-free inside the circle. Write down anything that causes you discomfort, pain, annoyance, or emotional exhaustion outside the circle. These are the people or situations that test your boundaries. 2. Openly communicate your boundaries. One of the most common mistakes people make is establishing mental boundaries, but not openly sharing them with the people in their lives. People sometimes assume that you should be aware of their boundaries. You must communicate your boundaries once you have established them. Take a deep breath, gather your strength, and express your needs assertively and directly. 3. Reiterate and uphold your boundaries. Not everyone will understand or respect your boundaries the first time they encounter them. It's critical to be firm in your decision while politely reminding them of your requirements when necessary. If someone does not initially respect your boundary, remind them while remaining firm in your original decision. 4. Don't be afraid to say no. So many people today have been programmed to feel guilty for saying no, when in reality, saying no is drawing a line in the sand. It represents bravery, self-love, and control over your daily decisions. Remember that every yes and no you say shapes your reality. You can direct how to spend your time and energy. If something does not feel right in your gut, you should probably avoid it. Healthy boundaries require the use of the word no. That's how you define and set boundaries. Once you figure out everything, you can control your life well. Are you struggling with setting boundaries? Which type of boundaries do you find the most difficult to set? Comment down below. Thank you for watching. Please share this video with your friends and family and subscribe to the channel.